Galactic Superweapon. When the galaxy abandoned a broken relic on Earth, they thought it was worthless, but humans saw something else entirely. Eli Torres stood in the cold wind, staring up at the massive dome where the alien starship rested. He had seen it 100 times. He'd worked on it every day for 3 years, but today it felt different. Maybe it wasn't the ship that felt different. Maybe it was him. The old starship was silent, like a sleeping giant. It had been left behind years ago by the Zenith Tall, blue-skinned aliens who once visited Earth and decided it wasn't worth staying. Their broken ship had been too damaged to fly again, or so they claimed. So they left it.
Oh.
And then they left. Earth. Most people thought the Zenith would come back. They never did. Eli still remembered when the Zenith left. And he remembered someone else who left to his best friend, Kayla. She had been his partner on the original research team. Brilliant, curious, always smiling. She had believed the ship could still work. She had believed in it, in them. But then she got an offer from the Lunar Science Division. It was her dream job, and it meant she had to leave Earth's surface and live on the moon full-time. Eli had told her to go. He smiled and wished her luck. But when she left, something inside him went quiet like the ship. Now, years later, the starship sat in front of him, quiet as ever. But sometimes, just sometimes, its lights flickered. Its panels glowed with strange symbols. It wasn't completely dead. And neither was Eli's hope. He walked around the dome, boots echoing on the steel floor. He passed labs filled with half-translated data and tools built from both Earth metals and alien designs. This place was alive with ideas, but Eli felt alone. He missed Kayla more than he wanted to admit. They used to talk every day, then once a week, then nothing. He wanted to call her, to message her. But what would he say? "Hi, I still miss you." Would she even care? But today, something changed. As he sat down on a bench near the starship's glowing hull, he noticed something blinking on the control panel. He ran to it. The alien interface lit up on its own. Soft humming sound came from the ship's center. Eli stared, confused. "What's going on?" he whispered. The ship's AI, an old damaged program they had nicknamed Echo, spoke in a low, broken voice. Input received. Human persistence detected. Ellie leaned closer. "What do you mean? Human heart unchanged? Searching? Familiar pattern." Then something strange happened. A hologram appeared. It was a memory, or maybe a recording. It was of Kayla. She was sitting in the same lab, smiling as she worked beside Eli. He stepped back, shocked. The ship had recorded them. Then he realized no, the ship had remembered them. "Echo," he said, heart racing. "Why are you showing me this? Connection? Missing? But not lost." Eli's chest tightened. It felt like the ship was speaking about Hammond Kayla. Maybe the ship wasn't just a broken machine. Maybe it was reflecting something deeper. The distance he felt. The silence. The hope he still had. He sat down and stared at the memory in the recording. Kayla laughed and said something. "If this ship ever wakes up, we're going to fly it ourselves, just you and me." Eli smiled, tears quietly forming. He'd forgotten that moment. But the ship hadn't. Maybe now was the time. He stood up and walked to the console. He opened a private communication line. For a long moment, he just stood there. Then he spoke. "Hey, Kayla, it's me. I don't know if you still think about this place, or me, but I thought you should know the ship's waking up. I think I finally understand what you saw in it." He paused. "I miss having you here, not just because of the work, because you made it feel like anything was possible. I guess I just wanted to say, I hope we can talk again, even. If it's just for a minute." He pressed send. Then he sat back down, heart pounding. The ship pulsed gently as if it understood. Maybe the Zenith had left this ship behind because they couldn't see its worth. But humans were different. They didn't give up on things, not on machines. And not on people. Somewhere out there, Kayla might be listening. And here on Earth. Eli was ready to hope again. Galactic Superweapon. While others saw a wreck, Earth discovered the potential to reshape the stars. Kayla Reed stared at the stars from her small lab window on Lunar Station Horizon. She was surrounded by machines, blinking lights, and the soft hum of artificial gravity. The moon base was clean, cold, quiet. Just like every day since she left Earth, she was doing the work she had dreamed of since she was young, researching alien technology, decoding strange symbols, and building the future. Yet something inside her felt ... distant. Her thoughts kept drifting back to Earth, back to the underground dome where she and Eli once worked side by side, back to the old alien ship they believed could still work. Eli, she hadn't heard from him in months. At first, they talked often. Messages, calls, even a few long video chats. But life got busy. The station had tight schedules and strict communication rules. And maybe she was afraid she had left behind more than just a planet. She sighed and rubbed her eyes. The other scientists were kind, but no one really knew her. Like Eli did. He believed in her ideas when no one else did. He understood her jokes, her quiet moments, her hopes now. She wasn't even sure he remembered her. Kayla opened her personal tablet, half hoping for a message. There was nothing new. She closed it and turned back to her terminal. On the screen were data logs from Earth's strange pulses of energy coming from the old Starship. She had been secretly watching the signals ever since a few unusual readings appeared 2 weeks ago. She had even seen the ship's AI interface flicker on in one of the reports. It wasn't dead. Something was happening. Her heart beat faster. Had Eli figured it out? Was he still working on it? Did he think about her the way she thought about him? She shook her head. No, she whispered. I left. He's probably moved on, but still. She couldn't stop wondering. As she sat in silence, her tablet chimed. She jumped. It was a message. From Eli, she opened it with shaking hands. Hey, Kayla. It's me. I don't know if you still think about this place or me, but I thought you should know the ship's waking up. And I think I finally understand what you saw in it. I miss having you here, not just because of the work, because you made it feel like anything was possible. I guess I just wanted to say, I hope we can talk again, even if it's just for a minute. Kayla stared at the screen, eyes wide. She read the message again. And again, a soft smile spread across her face. Eli had not forgotten. She opened the recording function on her tablet but hesitated. Her fingers hovered above the screen. What could she say? I miss you too. I never stopped believing in you. I wish I had never left. She sighed. Words were hard when feelings were big. She stood up and walked across the room, pacing. Her heart was full of emotions. Hope, fear, guilt, and something warm that she hadn't felt in a long time. She looked out the window again. Earth shined. In the black sky, glowing blue and green, it felt so close and yet so far. She had spent years chasing her dreams, proving herself. Now she wondered if the best part of her dream had been left behind. She sat back down, took a breath, and pressed record. Hey, Eli. I didn't expect to hear from you, but I'm glad you wrote. Really glad. I've been watching the readings too. I think you're right. The ship is waking up. But we were right all along, and I think about you. A lot. I didn't say goodbye properly when I left. I thought I had to let go to move forward, but I miss working with you. I miss you. The ship's alive. Maybe it's time I came back. She paused, then hit send before she could change her mind. She sat, quietly, feeling her heart beat fast. The stars outside didn't look so cold now. The alien ship they once called hopeless was alive again. And so was her connection to someone she cared about. It didn't matter how far the moon was from Earth. It didn't matter how long they had been apart. What mattered was that hope had survived, just like the ship, and like humans always do. She believed they could rebuild. Eli sat in his lab chair, staring at the message on his screen. Kayla had replied. She missed him. She still believed in the ship, and she was thinking about coming back. He read her words over and over again, trying to believe they were real. It felt like a warm light had entered his chest. The sadness that had hung over him like a cloud started to lift, but now he had a new, feeling a quiet kind of hope. The next day, Eli walked into the ship bay with a different energy. Something had changed, not just inside him, but inside the ship too. Since the AI had reactivated, the alien systems had begun to pulse softly. Lights traced strange lines across the surface, like veins waking up in a sleeping creature. Human scientists and engineers gathered every day to study it, excited and confused. Eli wasn't the only one who had been lonely. For years, the whole Earth team had felt forgotten. The Zenith aliens had left them with a broken puzzle. The galaxy ignored Earth's efforts. Other planets looked down on humans for trying to fix something too advanced for them. But humans didn't stop. They studied every broken piece, tested every metal, wrote thousands of code lines. And slowly, the Starship, now officially called Arclight, began to change. It wasn't just alien anymore. It was part human now. Eli stood by the main interface and placed his hand on the glass. The alien symbols shifted beneath his fingers. "Echo," he said, speaking to the AI. "Show me the new systems." The screen lit up, showing layers of human upgrades mixed with the ship's original tech. Fusion drives, energy shields, and new navigation charts. The ship was learning, adapting, growing. Just like him, as the days passed, more scientists joined the project. Engineers from Europe, tech experts from Asia, physicists from Africa and South America. People of every kind brought new ideas. For the first time in years, Earth was working as one. They were building something the galaxy thought was impossible. And every night, Eli checked his messages, hoping for another one from Kayla. Sometimes they talked about the ship. Sometimes they talked about their favorite music, or the stars. Or the old days when they stayed up too late eating instant noodles and dreaming big. One night, she sent him a picture of the Earth rising above the moon's surface. "I forgot how beautiful it looks from up here," she wrote. "I forgot how beautiful it felt down here," he replied. He didn't know what they were becoming again, but it was something. It wasn't gone. One morning, as the team worked on the ship's engine room, a young engineer named Priya shouted, "It moved." The main stabilizer shifted. Everyone froze. The stabilizer was one of the oldest parts of the ship, completely stuck since the beginning. No one had expected it to ever work again. But now, slowly it turned. Gasps and cheers filled the lab. The ship responded with a low hum, soft and steady. It was alive. Eli sent Kayla the footage right away. Within minutes, she sent back a message. "I can't believe it. You did it." He smiled. That word weemed more than she knew. That night, Eli walked along the dome's upper catwalk, looking down at the glowing ship. His heart felt full but still unsure. He wanted to see her again, not just on a screen. In person, but he didn't know how to ask. What if she had changed? What if he had? Still, humans weren't known for giving up. They were known for holding on, for rebuilding, for reaching across stars, no matter how far. He opened a new message window. "Hey, Kayla, there's a lot happening here. I think the ship's almost ready. And I think I'm almost ready too. If you're still thinking about coming back, maybe this is the right time. Not just for the project. For us." He pressed send and leaned back. The lights on Arclight pulsed in the dark. The ship didn't speak, but Eli felt like it understood. Sometimes, things that seem broken aren't really lost. They're just waiting for the right hands, the right hearts. The right moment, and humans knew how to fix what others had thrown away. They always had. Asterisk. Kayla sat near the observation window of Lunar Station horizon, watching a slow sunrise over the moon's gray surface. Normally, she loved this quiet moment. But today, her thoughts were heavy. She had been thinking about Eli all night. His last message kept repeating in her mind. If you're still thinking about coming back, maybe this is the right time, not just for the project. For us, she wanted to answer, but she hadn't yet. Not because she didn't care, because she cared too much. Things were easier when they were just working together, but now there were feelings, real ones, and distance. In time, she didn't know how to close that space between them. Still, something inside her whispered that she should go. She opened her private folder. It was filled with notes, photos, and video clips from the early days of the Starship project. So many memories. Laughing, arguing, dreaming, building something no one believed in. She touched a photo on the screen. Eli smiling beside the ship, both hands covered in grease, proud and exhausted. A message pinged. This time, it wasn't from Eli. It was from Mission Command. Prepare for transport. You're being reassigned to Earth Dome 9. Top-level clearance. Immediate departure. Her heart stopped. She read it again. Earth Dome 9. That was Arclight's location. She sat in silence for a moment. Then slowly a smile appeared. Someone had noticed her work. Maybe it was her reports. Maybe it was her quiet monitoring of the ship's signals. Maybe Eli had mentioned her name. Whatever the reason, she was going back, and she didn't need to send a message to say yes. Her answer was already clear. Back on Earth, Eli stood on the edge of the launch platform, helmet under his arm. His eyes looked up at Arclight, now fully lit, hovering slightly above its support pads. The ship wasn't just glowing any, it was humming. Ready, it was time to test flight. The world didn't know. This wasn't on the news. There were no cameras, no public announcement. Only a few people knew what was about to happen. Earth was sending Arclight into deep space not to fight, not to conquer, but to explore. To show the galaxy that Earth had grown, the same galaxy that once ignored them, the same Zenith Concord, that had called them primitive, but Earth had built this starship from scrap. They had unlocked its secrets. They had combined alien and human knowledge into something, knew something powerful, and now they would launch. The team gathered for final checks. Eli looked over the readings. The new human-installed systems were stable. The core was balanced. The AI, Echo, had synced with Earth's data grid. Everything was ready. Everything. Except one thing, Kayla. He hadn't heard from her in 2 days. He told himself she was busy, told himself she was thinking. But in his heart, he worried she had decided not to come back. He looked up at the ship. It reminded him of her brilliant, mysterious, and full of hope. The launch was in 1 hour. He took a deep breath. Then he heard footsteps behind him. He turned, and there she. Kayla, dressed in a silver suit, helmet in hand, eyes shining. She gave a small smile. You didn't really think I'd miss this, did you? Eli laughed, heart lifting. You're here. She stepped closer. I wasn't sure for a while. But then I remembered what this all meant. What we meant. And I knew. I had to come back. He nodded slowly. I'm glad you did. They stood there, quiet but close. No more messages. No more waiting. Just a people who had always believed in something others couldn't see, together again as the countdown began. Earth held its breath, underground, in silence. The world changed. The engines roared smooth, steady, full of life. Arclight rose, higher and higher through secret tunnels, past reinforced gates, to the sky above Earth. For the first time in history, human-alien hybrid ship built by Earth launched into the stars. Inside, Eli and Kayla sat side by side, watching the blue curve of Earth grow smaller behind them. He looked at her and smiled. You ready for this? She smiled back. Always. The galaxy had turned away from Earth once. Now, Earth was coming to them. Not to ask for a place, but to make one. And behind them, on the world they loved, billions of humans looked up in wonder. Because if humanity could turn a forgotten starship into something beautiful, they could do anything. The stars looked different when you were flying among them. Eli stared out the window of Arclight as it sped silently through space. Earth was far behind now, a soft blue dot fading in the distance. Ahead there was only the unknown. Inside the ship, everything was calm, lights soft, engines smooth, systems running perfectly. But inside Eli's heart, there was a quiet storm. He sat in the observation deck, arms resting on the metal railing. He thought about how far they had come. The broken, dusty ship they found had turned into this beautiful star cruiser. How humans, without alien help, had made it fly again, and he thought about Kayla. She was on board, just a few rooms away. They were finally together again. And yet something still felt distant. Not in space. In silence, they had spoken often during the launch and the first few days of travel, laughed like they used to, shared stories, worked together like no time had passed. But in the quiet hours, they both pulled away a little, like neither one knew what the other really felt now. Like they were still afraid to say the things that mattered most. He missed her. Even while standing right beside her, Kayla, meanwhile, sat in the ship's core room, watching streams of data pass across a curved screen. Alien code mixed with human language. It looked beautiful to her two worlds. It's finally working as one. But her heart wasn't in the data today. It was with Eli. She had waited years to come back, dreamed of this moment. But now that she was here, she didn't know what to say. She wondered if Eli had changed, or maybe she had. They had both grown while apart. And though the bond was still there, something was holding them back. She wanted to tell him how much she missed him, how she had regretted not calling more, how proud she was of him. But every time she tried, the words stayed inside, so she focused on her work instead. 2 days into the mission, Arclight picked up a signal. It was faint, but familiar Zenith code. An old satellite left drifting near. A small moon in neutral space. The ship automatically translated the message. It was a routine scan log from a Zenith patrol ship. Eli and Kayla stood in the command room as the message played. Then something happened. Arclight responded not with words, but with a quiet ping-in automated identification code deep within its original systems. A part of its memory that hadn't been touched before. The Zenith satellite responded with confusion, and then it sent a message to its home system. A message that Earth's ship had no right to be flying. Suddenly, the galaxy noticed in a council chamber light years away. Alien leaders read the data with shock. Earth One asked, "This came from Earth?" "Yes," said another. "That broken ship we left behind. They fixed it. They're flying it. But how? They're not supposed to have the knowledge. They weren't supposed to be ready. But Earth was ready, and they were all ready." In space, the Zenith Council, once silent about Earth, now rushed into meetings. Emergency alerts, quick scans. Old fears rose again, because deep down, they remembered what that ship truly was. It wasn't just a scout ship. It was something more. And now, humans were in control. Back on Arclight, Eli and Kayla watched the readouts. Dozens of eyes were suddenly on them, but instead of fear, Eli felt something else. Pride. "They know now," he said. Kayla nodded slowly. "I didn't think we could do it, but we did." The silence between them grew soft, warm, and finally Kayla looked at him, her voice quiet. "I never stopped believing in this. In you." He turned to her, surprised. She smiled. "I just didn't know how to come back." Eli nodded. "Me neither. I wanted to reach out, but I didn't know if I should." "You should have," she said. He chuckled. "You too." They both laughed, the tension melting away. Then Eli reached out and gently held her hand. "I'm glad you're here." "Me too," she whispered. In that moment, the distance between them vanished. Not just in space, but in their hearts. The galaxy had noticed Earth, but Earth wasn't afraid, because humans had done what no one else believed they could. They had turned forgotten ruins into hope. They had brought light into silence, and in that ship flying through the stars, two people who once felt lost found each other again. That was humanity's power, not just to build, but to connect, to believe, and to never give up. Kayla walked slowly down the central corridor of Arclight, her hand brushing against the soft lights running along the walls. The ship was quiet, but not lifeless. Every sound, the hum of energy, the soft vibration in the floor, felt like a heartbeat. But inside, her own heart was heavy. Even though she and Eli had reconnected, something still felt uncertain. They had shared a quiet moment, held hands, even smiled again. but there were still many words left unsaid. She missed the way they used to be. No fear, no holding back. They had shared everything once. Now, it felt like they were walking next to each other, but still carrying their own weight. Kayla entered the memory chamber, a circular room filled with floating lights and soft, shifting images. This was where the ship stored its old data. Most of it was alien code they didn't fully understand. She activated the interface. Echo. The ship's AI responded in its calm, broken voice. Memory link. Restored. Human request. Accepted. Kayla wasn't sure what she was looking for. Maybe she just wanted to understand where the ship came from. Maybe she wanted to understand herself. The room darkened. Then, slowly the lights formed shape scenes from the past. Alien warships. Bright flashes of energy, fear, silence. The ship had been part of something big. Something terrible. A war the Zenith tried to erase. Arclight wasn't just a scout, it was a test model for something powerful. Something they later feared. But that wasn't what caught Kayla's attention. It was the voice. A soft voice, speaking not in alien language, but in human tones. The ship had recorded them. Her and Eli, years ago. The scene changed. She saw herself younger, standing next to Eli at the control panel. They were laughing, tired, covered in grease and dust. But happy, she heard herself say, "One day, we'll get this ship flying. When we do, we'll fly it together." Then the recording ended. Kayla stared at the place where the memory had floated. She had forgotten she ever said that, but the ship hadn't. It remembered, and suddenly, she understood something. This wasn't just about science, or space, or proving the galaxy wrong. This was about human connection. The ship had saved their voices, their dreams. Their belief, it had held on to them even when they forgot. Meanwhile, Eli sat in the ship's dining area, staring at his untouched drink. His mind was full of questions. He had felt so close to Kayla again, but something kept holding him back. What if this mission ended? What if she left again? Could he really ask her to stay? He stood up and started walking through the corridors, not sure where he was going. His feet took him to the memory chamber. He paused outside the door. Kayla was inside, alone. He could see her through the small window, standing very still in the middle of the room. Then he opened the door and walked in. She turned and saw him. Her eyes were a little red. "I didn't know you'd be here," she said softly. "I just started walking," he said. She nodded. "I watched one of the old recordings." "I've seen them too," he said. "I forgot how happy we used to be." Kayla looked down. I think I was afraid of that. Of being happy," Eli asked. "No," she said. "Of losing it." Eli walked closer. "We haven't lost it. It's still here. Just waiting for us to stop being afraid." She met his eyes. "I'm tired of being afraid," she whispered. He gently took her hand. "So am I." Outside the memory chamber, Arclight continued to fly steady and strong. Inside, two people who had once drifted apart were finding their way back to each other, not through grand speeches, but through simple truth. They had believed in something. When no one else did, they had built something from broken parts. And now, they were repairing what truly mattered, the bond between them. This was the human way to fall, to rise, to hope again. Kayla stood in the communication room of Arclight, watching a strange symbol blink on the main screen. A transmission from the Galactic Council. The aliens who once ignored Earth were now sending messages. But these weren't greetings. They were warnings. The screen glowed as the message played. A tall alien with pale skin and golden eyes appeared. He wore long robes and spoke in a calm but serious tone. "To the humans aboard the ship Arclight, you are in possession of forbidden technology. This vessel was never meant for your species. Return it or face the consequences." Then the screen went black. Kayla stared at it, heart pounding. Eli stepped beside her. "They're scared." "Yes," Kayla said softly. "Because they know what this ship can do." Eli nodded. They didn't think we'd ever figure it out. There was silence between them. Not angry silence, just thoughtful, heavy silence. Kayla looked at him. Do you think we should respond? Shook his head. Not yet. Let them wonder. She smiled, but it faded quickly, because something inside her felt heavy, not from fear of the council, but from something more personal. Eli had been quiet again. They had shared a moment in the memory room. They had opened their hearts. Afterward, they both pulled away a little. Not because they were angry, because it still hurt, because they didn't know what came next. Later that day, Kayla walked alone through the ship's observatory. She sat on a small bench and stared at the stars. They were bright and cold, scattered across the black sky like tiny promises. She thought about Eli, about Earth, about everything they had built together, and still, she felt far from him. He was close. He was kind. But there was still something. Between them, a quiet wall. She wanted to talk to him, to really talk, but she didn't know how to start. Do you still care about me? Are we just friends now? Is this ship the only thing keeping us together? Her heart hurt because she missed him, Evan, while sitting next to him every day. Eli, in his quarters, stared at an old photo of them both. It was from their first year working on the ship. They were laughing, arms around each other, excited, and full of hope. He missed that version of them. He missed her, but he didn't know how to tell her. What if she wasn't ready? What if he ruined the work they had rebuilt? Still, he couldn't let this silence stay between them. Not again. He stood up and walked out of his room. He found her in the observatory. She turned when he entered, surprised. Hey, she said. Hi, he said quietly. He walked over and sat beside her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Eli took a deep breath. I don't want to lose you again. Kayla looked down. I don't want to lose you either. Eli looked at her. But I feel like you're slipping away again, even though we're here. Even though we're flying through space, just like we always dreamed. She nodded slowly. I know. I feel it too. He asked softly, do you think we can fix it? She looked up at him. Her eyes were gentle but full of truth. I think we can try. Outside the ship, the stars kept moving. Inside, the two people held hands again, not because everything was perfect, but because they weren't giving up. They were human. They didn't let go easily. They rebuilt broken things. They held on to hope. That night, the ship received another message from the Galactic Council. This time, it wasn't a threat. It was a request. We wish to talk. The message ended. Kayla looked at Eli. He looked at her. We've changed the game, he said. Yes, she whispered. And we did it together. From a forgotten world, humanity had risen, not with war, but with heart, with belief, with connection, even in silence, even in distance. Humans reached out, and they held on, because that's what they were best at. That was their superpower. Eli and Kayla stood together on the bridge of Arclight, watching the stars stretch out before them like a bright sea. The ship hummed softly beneath their feet, alive, strong, ready. They had faced silence, distance, and fear. But now they were united. For a long time, Eli had felt lost. Kayla had felt far away. They didn't know how to say the things they wanted most, but through it all, they never stopped believing. Believing in the ship, believing in each other, believing in themselves. The Galactic Council had sent messages, first warnings, then requests. The galaxy had watched Earth grow from a forgotten world into a new power, and Earth had answered not with threats or anger, but with hope. Eli reached out and took Kayla's hand. Do you remember when we said we'd fly this ship together? He asked. She smiled, squeezing his hand. I remember. I wasn't sure if we ever would. Now we are. Kayla looked out the window, not just flying, leading, showing the galaxy who we are. Eli nodded. Because humans don't give up. We don't let distance win. We reach out, even when it's hard. She leaned close. We hold on to hope. Their eyes met. It was more than a promise. It was a beginning. Back on Earth, people looked up at the night sky with wonder. The news of Arclight's launch and peaceful mission spread quickly. Humans everywhere felt proud, not because of power, but because of courage. Courage to believe in the impossible, to build from broken parts, to reconnect, even when it seemed too hard, because that was what humans did best. On the ship, Eli and Kayla sat side by side, hands still linked. They talked late into the night about dreams, fears, and the future. The silence that once separated them was gone, replaced by words, by trust, by love. As Arclight sailed onward through the stars, it carried more than technology. It carried the heart of humanity, a heart that could heal, a heart that could hope, a heart that could unite, and in the vastness of space, that heart shone bright. Because no matter how far apart people may feel, hope always finds a way.